April 19th, 2018 is another edition of Third Down. Welcome to Third Down. I am your host, T. Wayne the Don. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's a pretty day outside in the slums of Louisiana, as I call it. There's always a little, I don't know if you want to call it, it's just a slum in my opinion. But it is officially Game 3. Game 3s to start tonight in the NBA playoffs. We will talk about a little bit of Game 3s, and I think that's going to be the bulk of our conversation. Probably about a little 20 minutes. That's all I need of your time. That sounds like the most Baptist preachers when they say 20 minutes of your time. It'd be about 50 minutes, but I promise you I ain't going to be too long. Talk a little bit about, number one, the big news. The Pels take a 2-0 lead. They went to Portland, and they go on here, they take a 2-0 lead. So shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans as they take on tonight Game 3. So we're going to talk a little bit about them in a little bit. We're going to talk about some other 2-0 leads, talk about the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, talk about the Toronto Raptors and the Washington, Redskins, the Washington Wizards. And we'll talk about the bad news that happened late last night with Greg Popovich and his wife. It's rest in peace to his wife. His wife did die yesterday at 67 years old. That is a shame, especially, hate to say it, when it rains, it pours for the poor Spurs right now. The Spurs still trying to find a rhythm in the playoffs, and they are down 2-0, and they will take on the Golden State Warriors tonight. My thoughts and prayers is with the family. Sad to see, especially at a time like this when they're trying to at least get back in the series. They are not in the series right now, so we gotta talk a little bit about them later in the show, if you don't mind. But let's talk about a lot of Game 2s that happened. First thing first, let me start off with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm gonna start with them first. Now, Cleveland played last night. Cleveland had scored 100 points. They had won 100-97. They did have a big lead at one point in time in this ball game. LeBron James scored 46 points. So 46% of the offense was truly the king himself. 44% was the other guys. I guess that mattered to a degree. So when I went back and I looked at the stat line, because I did miss the majority, I missed this whole game, guys. I was at work last night. I went back and looked at the stat line. I said, well, man, I kept getting notifications like LeBron dropped 46. And when I looked at the score, I said, wow, he really scored half of the points to a degree. So when I went back and looked at the stat lines, and nothing is selling me that it's a championship basketball team. I'm sorry. And all my Cleveland fans out there, look, man, y'all got to take this L. I'm sorry. Y'all, be happy that something going good in Cleveland right now where y'all just locked up Jarvis Landry to this big contract. Take that and go with it, because the Cleveland Cavaliers is not what's up right now. You look what they scored on the bench last night. Total points that scored on the bench. I want y'all to be prepared for this one. 2, 2, 5, 2, 5. So 10, 12, 14, 16 points was all off the bench last night for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, they made an adjustment. Before the game, I got a notification that J.R. Smith was going to start. Smith just gave you 5 points, 2 for 5 from the 3-point, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, 2 for 5 shooting. He only took 5 shots last night. Kyle Korver, now that was a help. That was a big jump. He was your third leading scorer. He scored 12 points last night. He went 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. So he went 50% shooting last night in the game. So guess who was your second man who was highest? Kevin Love was 15. But now he has an injury problem. 15 points. 5 rebounds. I mean, and naturally, look at the king himself, 46 points. 12 rebounds in the ball game last night, 5 assists. So you telling me LeBron James started the series 24, 10, and 12. Now he go 46, 12, and 5 in the series to start the playoff run. He's 50% of your offense now. A few years ago, when you think about Kyrie Irving, you think about Kevin Love, you think about guys who was major contributors to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tristan Thompson at one point in time. Matthew Dellavedova, big part of the offense, came in, contributed off the bench. You don't have these same faces no more from that championship team. let's think about Tristan Thompson. Where is Tristan Thompson? Well, Tristan Thompson did not play last night. Tristan Thompson is on the bench. Rodney Hood give you 5 points. Jordan Clarkson, I expect him to be better. He has to step it up for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Only 2 points? Yo, are you kidding me, bro? They went to got you for a reason. Larry Nance, he more the defensive presence, not really your big scorer, but 2 points, he got to do better as well. That's not going to get the job done. If I'm Indiana, and I'm sorry I got to say it like it is, if I'm Indiana, Indiana should still be licking their chops. Because really and truly, we only got to worry about slowing down one man, that's the offense. And if he has a bad night, what the rest of the team going to step up and do? I think Indiana could take this series to 7. They already stole 1 from the Cleveland Cavaliers at home. Why they can't steal another one, or they can win 2 at home to make it 3-1? Because when you look at the numbers last night, still look at the Indiana numbers, they had a total of 4 people in double digits last night. Victor Oladipo scored 22 points last night. Darren Collison scored 16. Miles Turner scored 18. I think Miles Turner's got to dominate the paint next game and really show his aggressiveness to really help Indiana get over. Lance Stevenson had his usual 10-12, so he had 10 last night. I want to see Corey Joseph take it to another level. Corey just had 6 points last night. Sabonis, I want to see him get to about at least 12 or 13 points in the game. See what he gonna do. Bogdanovic, see if he gets about 15, 16 points in the game. The role players are playing key in these series, to be honest with you. Especially when you look at Boston, Terry Rozier, who taking his game to a whole nother level. Like, he's not scared of the big stage. And so I want to see how Indiana gonna come out game 3. They play game 3 on Friday, so I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to that one Friday night. See what they're gonna do. Now let's move on. We gotta hurry up. Oklahoma City, Utah. Utah comes back and still won from OKC, 102-95. They take a 7-point win over the Thunder. Donovan Mitchell scored 28. Westbrook had 19 points in the ball game. 19 points and 13 assists on the day. This is typical. Hate to say this, why I'm not really sold on the Thunder yet, because this is typical performances that the Thunder will have. We've seen all year, and not trying to disrespect them because I am a Russell Westbrook fan, but this is what we have seen pretty much all season long from the Thunder. You know, they have games where they just own. Game 1, they was on. It looked like they could have took the series and swept it. Game 2, don't finish down the stretch. At one point, they had like a 7-8 point lead. Don't finish games down the stretch, and you will lose. Carmelo Anthony, 17 points. Corey Brewer had 11. Paul George, 18. Now, they call him Playoff P. Scored 18 points. He had a double-double last night, but kind of need a little bit more from him. Russell had 19, 13 assists, 9 rebounds, 1 rebound away from having a triple-double. Jeremy Grant had 13 points off the bench. Raymond Felton had 8. Your bench only scored 21 points last night. Didn't get no help from Patrick Patterson. And Alex Abrines didn't give you no help at all last night. As a team, you shot 31% from the three-point line. You shot 40% from the field. Even though Utah didn't really do no better, they shot 41.7%, 31% for the three-point line as well. Look at Utah numbers. You know, Favors had 20. Ingles had 3. Rudy Gobert had 13. Ricky Rubio had 12. Donovan Mitchell had 28. I mean, then you look at the bench. Jericho had 10 points. Crowder had 1. O'Neal had 3. And Exum had 2. Still about the same. You score about 16 points off your bench, but more people need to put their hands in the basket for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, I think once Oklahoma City, this is something that I think a lot of people really want to see all come together, and you see it in spurts. And I just don't know. I think Oklahoma City win this series in 6. Next round, they got to play Houston. Are they going to really take their game to the next level? Because I think to a degree, they can slow Houston down. But one thing I don't like, and I like what Charles Barkley and them said, I started to see this from the Thunder over the last couple of months. And then Charles and them said it, and it kind of reiterated what I thought. They play so much ISO, and they got so many ISO players. Not enough people touching the basketball on the offensive end when they're on playing offense. You know, quick pick and roll, quick shot, boom. Or one-on-one trying to get to the basket, boom. I mean, that's their game. They got a lot of isolation players. But they got to fix the system. I think if Oklahoma City can really get going, they can make some noise going into the playoffs. And they can really take Houston for their money in the best of 7 next round. I think they still win this series. I think they shake back next game in Utah. I think they can shake back win the next 2 in Utah. I think Utah might come back to Oklahoma City and win in Oklahoma City. But I think, all in all, I think the next 3 away games, Oklahoma City probably going to win them. I got Oklahoma City winning this bad boy in 6. But they got to shake back, man. Get tightened up. Get back finish a ball game. Because they really should have won that game last night to a degree. And the last game from last night, start from last night, then we're going to get to Tuesday, would be the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. What a disgrace that was. I mean, Jesus Christ. Minnesota, I said on Twitter last night, Minnesota is really happy just to be in the playoffs. You know, they had a long drought for years. They are just so satisfied. And you know, the bad part about it is they lost. At one point, the game they almost was down by 30 at one point. They lost by 20. But James Harden went 2 for 18 from the field, 1 for 10 from the three-point line. James just had a total of 12 points. He went to the free throw line 7 or 8 times. But guess who? Other people that beat him, Chris Paul had a classic Chris Paul performance with 27 points. Trevor Ariza, 15 points. Gerald Green had 21 points. You know, that's the signs of a good team when your leader's not playing well. And I got to give the devil when the devil is due. That's a good sign of a leader when your team's not playing well. And you all of a sudden, you got the other guys step up. When your leader's not playing well, the other guys step up to the plate and say, that's all right, brother. We're going to pick you up tonight because you pick us up every night. And they beat the hell out of this team to a degree. You know, I mean, James went back out there to try to find a rhythm, but he had no reason to. I mean, look at the starters for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns is a no-show, or the total so far, I think, of 13, 11 points in this series. 5 freaking points last night out of Karl Anthony Towns. And also, yeah, you deserve the buzzer. And also, Jeff Teague had 8 points last night. Jesus Christ. Andrew Wiggins, 13. Jimmy Butler, 11. No excuse now, Jimmy. Taj Gibson, 8. Nigel Belton, I can't say that boy's name, 16 points. He was the lead man for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Derrick Rose, 9. Jamal Crawford, 8. Yeah, Minnesota is really happy just to be there. And I don't see Minnesota. They might be hyped. I think they're going to be super hyped because it's the first time in a long time they're hosting a playoff game at home. Game 3, so they might win that one. But if they don't win that one, they out of here. They are completely out of here. Because you know who they remind me of? And I started to look at it. I told my buddy this last night on the phone. Or last night, the night before, one or two. They remind me of what New Orleans was a few years ago when New Orleans had to beat San Antonio to get in the playoffs. And they had the tiebreaker with Oklahoma City, so that knocked Oklahoma City from not going to the playoffs. And, you know, they were just so hyped up, first time in franchise history as the Pelicans, that they're in the playoffs, and they get to game 1, they got pounded. Game 2, they found themselves in a way to win the game, but they didn't. They lost down the stretch. Game 3, they had over about a 25-point lead. They lost that. Game 4, just all the air went out the building, losing on game 3. You lose that, and guess what? You're out the playoffs. You was just only there for about a week. And I think a lot of players like Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis remember that. Remember how that felt just to get there that fast and all of a sudden leave. This can potentially be a learning curve, especially for Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, if he still come back. And, you know, the veterans should pick this team up, like Taj Gibson, who got experience with the Bulls. You got Derrick Rose, who got conference finals experiences, Jimmy Butler as well. The veterans should pick this team up and bring this team higher, because they've been a Jamal Crawford, Jeff Teague. They all got experience with this. They should pick their team up and say, like, we still in this. We just got to get back to doing the right things in the basketball game. Karl Anthony Towns need to get more. He need to get more dominant inside. 5 points not gonna cut it, man. You supposed to be the future.